Hey everyone, welcome back to Carrots and Olives. My name is Brittany, and today we are going to go into the February currently inked fountain pens. I am learning that this is really exciting to do, not just to share with you, but also to plan it out and pick and choose the pens that I will be using for the month. I can see the appeal of being able to get really excited because you were using the same pens last month for 30 days. And now it's like, okay, I finally get to change it around and pick some new pens. So it's becoming really exciting for me. So it was last night when I got excited and I was trying to determine, okay, do I want this ink? Do I want this pen? Which pen do I want to use? Well, I decided to use a lot of different brands. None of these are the same brand, which is fun. And I decided to also use 8 pens. And I know in my last video I mentioned 6 pens, but I'm gonna do 8 this time. So I have my dip pen here. This is a Kakimori brass nib, and then this is the aluminum holder, so it has some weight to it. It feels like it's hollow on the inside, but it's pretty comfortable because it has that additional weight. I'm also going to show you the inks, the ink bottles that I have. So I'm going to start off with my first pen and ink. I am using a bunch of Moody inks for the month of February. And so this one was from an ink swap, and it is the Ink Institute. It's this gorgeous blue color. I haven't inked it in anything yet, so all I know is what I see on the page, but I know it was like a deep blue. So the pen I decided to put this in is my Platinum 3776, and this is in the Nice Lilac color. Not lilac, lila. There's a lilac, which is a little bit darker purple than this one. And I'm going to use my writing board because my hands are a little bit oily. So again, this is the Platinum 3776 Century. Nice Lila. This is actually in a broad. And the ink is so this ink is pretty, but it is a little bit concerning. It does have some sheening properties, which makes it really pretty, but I'm also concerned because it doesn't seem like it's flowing out of the broad nib very well. Next is the ink I got from my recent unboxing. And I already had this color, but I don't use it very often. So I'm excited to use it. I do have it in the same fountain pen, but it's this pretty blue turquoise-ish color. And I decided to put it in the new Sailor pen. This is my Sailor. Pro Gear Slim. Aurora. Borealis. Or Borealis. Or Borealis. How do you say that? If you know, please help me out. This one is in the fine. And I'm just going to make a note. It's the overseas exclusive. So the ink is Sailor, Shikiori, Yamadori, I know this is not going to be a super wet ink, but actually for a sailor fine, that's pretty juicy. Next up is an ink I've used often. It's been a while, and this is the Birmingham Pen Company ink. It is one of their older inks, the Homestead Steel Works Slag Gray. It's like an interesting gray. Kind of reminds me of a brown gray. And when it comes to writing, it's different for each pen. So this is my Diplomat Aero. In turquoise. And this is the 14 karat, so it's not the steel nib. I have it in a fine. BPC is the initials for Birmingham Pen Company. Homestead Steel Works Slag Gray. Very long name. I think that the ink is really good. I've used it a couple times. Definitely not in this pen, but I have used it quite a few times. So next up is this one, which is Organic Studio. And this can be quite messy. Just gonna give it a little shake. You tend to get those little pieces that have gathered on the edges and they fall down on your paper and can spread. But this color is really pretty. So this is a very, very shining ink. And I'm just going to put that on. And it can be hard to clean. You see, it kind of always leaves residue, but it's such a pretty color. So I'm definitely going to need to clean my desk after this. As soon as you put water to all these little specks that fall, it's going to start coloring my white desk. So I always have to make sure when I clean it, I'm wiping it really well. So I decided to put this one in my Moonman, and I have a completely different nib on it. It's a Schmidt nib. And so I wanted to kind of test this out for consistency. I've had this inked up for a very long time because of look at all the ink that it can have and hold. But I want to know how well it works when I'm writing with it consistently. If I don't write with it for a long time, it does kind of clog up on me. And I have a fine. Again, this is Organics. Or Organic Studio. Walden. Pond Blue. And with this fine nib, it's very, very wet. Dominant Industry, and this is the Pearl series. I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a shake. I love this little dewdrop bottle. I've used this color once or twice, but I always am surprised every time I come back to it because I always think it's a different color than what I see it come out in a fountain pen. So it's actually pretty dark. And I have it in my Twsbi. This time I have a Twsbi. I haven't used this particular Twsbi in, let's say, maybe 2 years. Twsbi Diamond 580 all pink. And I have, I think it's a medium, yeah. It's a medium nib. And this is Dominant Industry. Winter Night. Pearl series. I'll just write Pearl. And it's very, very wet. And I love this. I mean, after being in fines for a long time, coming to a medium that writes really juicy like this is just so satisfying. Okay, next is this ink, which was from a ink swap, the same ink swap as the first ink. And it's a little bit brighter than everything else, but still falls in the same family, blue cool color. And I've decided to put it in my Traveler's Company fountain pen. This is the brass pen. And you can see all that patina here. So this is in a fine nib, and it's, I mean, it has some wetness to it, but when I'm writing, it's not very wet. I feel like it just soaks right into the paper, and it doesn't really sit on top as much as like the Twsbi and the Dominant Industry. So this one is Tono and Limbs, Regulus, and it's really pretty because it seems like it goes from blue to like a teal, and I really wanted to figure out where to find this, but I don't think they sell this color anymore, as I couldn't find it. So if anyone knows or anyone has a bottle willing to give up, let me know. I would be interested in buying it. But it's really unique. You can see it's like a light turquoise, and then it gets to this blue as it dries. I really am fascinated by that color. Okay, so next is another Birmingham Pen Company ink, and this is another favorite of mine. It is a deep dark color, which I love. And I decided to put it in my Laban. So this is Laban, or Laban, Cambridge. Also goes by like ivory and black. And they have a number on here, 3952. So I'm going to put that in there. This is a fine nib, but it writes a little bit thicker than the Sailor. And this is Birmingham Pen Company, Grandview Avenue, Midnight Horizon. I just like the way it sits on the paper, this color. So I do love this color. It's like a blue brown, and it's just really pretty. My last pen is Vinta Inks. It is another sheening ink. I love this bottle for some reason. I don't know why. It doesn't seem to have as many little pieces that come off the bottle when I open it like the Walden one does. And it also feels a little bit more drier than the Walden. So I'm putting this one in my Jinhow. And I'm a little bit nervous. Jinhow. This is the X159. And I have a fine nib. Vinta Blue Blood. It also has Dugong, what's it? Dugong, Bughaw. I don't know if that means blue blood in English, but I will add it there. So it seems a little wet. I kind of have to press down just to get it to feel like it's juicy on the page, or the thickness I want it to be on the page. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I have a feeling there's going to be quite a few pens in here, like the Moonman, the Jinhow, and the Platinum, that are just not going to write well at startup, and I'm going to have to start it up myself and then write with it, and then, you know, every time. So we'll see how that goes. I will update you I will write notes for the middle of the month, and then I will see you at the end of the month for my thoughts. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. I will make sure to put and list all the materials I'm using today. So, because I know some of you do wonder what I'm writing, and I guess when I pronounce it, I'm not pronouncing it very clearly, but I will put these all in the description. So anyway, If you have any questions, please let me know below, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.